أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. Verse number 28 of Surah Ar-Rum. ضرب لكم مثلا من أنفسكم هل لكم مما ملكت أيمانكم من شركاء فيما رزقناكم فأنتم فيه سواء تخافونهم كخيفتكم أنفسكم كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يعقلون. He draws for you an example from yourselves. Do you have among your slaves any partners who may share in what we have provided you, so that you are equal in its respect, and you revere them as you revere one another? Thus do we elaborate the signs for the people who apply reason. This verse is drawing a very interesting example from the life of the addressees of the Quran. They had certain social relations, social structure, and they acted according to that, which was quite contrary to what they believed about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, regarding the Sha'n al-Nuzul, the causal revelation of this verse, something is said which is not quite related to the context of the verses. But it's interesting to know. In Ad-Durr al-Manthur al-Suyuti and also in other Shia books, there is one narration which says that when the polytheists wanted to perform Hajj, they said Talbiyah in this way. You know, Hajj was something founded by Ibrahim alayhi salam, and all its rituals were taught by him. Even the statement of Talbiyah, when we say Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, it was exactly what was inherited from the inheritance of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the knowledge of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, the Talbiyah was like this, exactly the same as Talbiyah as we say today. Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika lak, Labbaik la sharika lak, Labbaik inna al-hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka Labbaik. Now, the second part, of course, may have been something which is mustahab to say, but the first part, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika laka Labbaik, this was the standard formula for Labbaik. Now, the Arabs added something according to the, not all Arabs, of course, especially the Quraysh, added statement according to what they had invented as their belief, that God has partners in the sense that they share some of the sovereignty of Allah in giving and taking, in providing and not providing. So what they said was this, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika lak, illa sharikan huwa lak, tamlikuhu wa ma malak. I respond positively, my Lord, and I testify that there is no sharik, no partner for you, except a partner that is created by you, and you own him, and whatever he owns is, although he is independent in providing, deciding what to provide or not to provide, but still you own him in that, in all that he has. This was what they added. Now, of course, this was contrary to their own belief, because they believed that a slave which is owned by someone, a slave which is owned by someone, cannot have any independent disposal of the property of the person, any independent decision in taking and giving, and things like that. Slave is a slave, should not have any liberty, any independence from the Mawla, from the master. Now, Allah says, you believe that about the slaves who are not really slaves. This is what you have convened amongst yourselves. You have not created them. You do not own them in a true sense. And then you do not want to give them any independence. And you fear that if you give them independence, then they may become like free partners. You do not do that. And yet you attribute that to Allah, that He has created partners for Himself and He has delegated things to them. Now, this is not, of course, an approval of the slavery that and the rules of the slavery, but Allah is saying that you are contradicting yourself. It is giving them a very palpable, tangible example from their own community that what you believe about Allah is absurd, even according to your own rules of slavery, your own rules of dependence and independence. So, ضَرَبَ لَكُمْ مَثَلًا مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. He draws for you an example from yourselves, from your own community, from your own relations. That do you have among your slaves any partner who may share in what we have provided you, that they are independent in that, and you are equal with your slaves? They decide the same as you decide. فَأَنْتُمْ فِي سَوَاءٍ. And then you fear them, and you fear their disposal, you fear their decisions, the way you fear the decision of free partners. تَخَافُونَهُمْ كَخِيفَتِكُمْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. In essence, it says, you have slaves and servants that with whom you do not share your wealth, nor do you allow them to manage it without your permission. You do not fear them when they hand in your possession, as you fear your other partners, free partners, that they may indulge in certain things that are not according to what you desire. So how can you have taken those who are truly and rightfully owned by Allah as partners in His dominion? How may you even think about that? How have you attributed to Allah what you would never accept for yourselves? So, ضَرَبَ لَكُمْ مَثَلًا مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. This giving example from the social relationship and social beliefs of the addressees of the Prophet, peace be upon him, addressees of the Quran, has been given in other instances in the Quran as well. Like, for example, let me draw for you an example from Surah Az-Zumar. ضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا رَجُلًا فِيهِ شُرَكَاءُ مُتَشَاكِسُونَ وَرَجُلًا سَلَمًا لِرَجُلٍ هَلْ يَسْتَوِيَانِ مَثَلًا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah draws an example from your own relationships. A man jointly owned by several contending masters, and a man belonging entirely to one man. Are the two equal in comparison? All praise belongs to Allah, but most of them do not know. This example is a bit different from the example given in this surah, because in this surah it says, what you believe about Allah is contrary to what you believe yourselves for your own slaves, your master-slave relationship. But here it says, the one who relies in one master, the one who is totally feel dependent on one master, is not equal the one who is shared by many different partners, and they are contending, and each of them want to have more of this person, this slave, what would be the situation of this man compared to the one who is owned by one master, who knows who he should rely upon? And this is the example of Tawheed, of reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on one master. But again, this is an example given from their own social relationship. As I said, this is not approval of what they did or what they believed. It just says what you believe and what you do is contrary to what you believe about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the way you treat Allah and worshipping Him. Again, another example given, for example, وَيَجْعَلُونَ in Surah An-Nahl, وَيَجْعَلُونَ لِلَّهِ الْبَنَاتِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَلَهُمْ مَا يَشْتَهُونَ. They ascribe daughters to Allah, that He has daughters, and then for themselves, they want whatever they desire. They like sons, not daughters. وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. If the news of the birth of daughter is given to one of them, their face darkens out of anger and disappointment. This is how they feel about having daughter. This is not approving what they believe, and then you ascribe daughters to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say Allah has daughters. This is contrary to what you believe yourself. فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ أَلِرَبِّكَ الْبَنَاتِ وَلَهُمُ الْبَنُونَ. Ask them, is this not a contradiction that you want sons and you attribute daughters to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Again, it's not approving what they believed about boys and girls, about male and female. It's just saying that your belief in your treatment, your practice in your community is totally contradictory, conflicting what you believe about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the end it says, كَذَلِكَ نُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. These are clear examples drawn from the very fabric of your own lives that we are giving you, so that you may take heed. You understand that you are wrong. كَذَلِكَ نُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. We convey these truths so that you may engage your reason, you may apply reason. At the very least, what the verse is saying, that at the very least, do not attribute to the Lord of the worlds what you would never accept for yourselves. So the verse is condemning, criticizing, censoring their views that they attribute to God, and they did not like it for themselves. And He is the true master, and they are just conventional masters. He is the true owner, and they are just conventional owners. Now, why is this so? Why they do not accept that they are wrong in their belief about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having partners, having delegated independent decision-making to what they believe to be partners of Allah, to be daughters of Allah. Verse number 29, بَلِ اتَّبَعَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَهْوَاءَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ فَمَنْ يَهْدِي مَنْ أَضَلَّ اللَّهُ وَمَا لَهُمْ مِنْ نَاصِرِينَ. Rather, the wrongdoers follow their own desires without any knowledge. So who will guide those whom Allah has led astray? They will have no helpers. Now, the particle bal usually is to dismiss the previous argument, the argument which was provided, and then providing another argument, dismissing an argument which was deviated from the path of truth, and then providing the truth. Bal اتبع الذين أهواهم بغير علم. This is not because they do not understand this, not because they cannot apply reason to find out that this is contradictory to what they believe themselves about themselves. However, rather, bal, they are following their desires, are not following reason. And their desire is that they would like to say we worship beings who are feminine, who are female, and they are compassionate towards us, and they are independent from God, can independently decide what they give us, what they take from us. This is their desires. Now, why this is their ahwa, their desires? Apparently, these are the stories that they made and they liked it. And they didn't want to give it up. When they encountered with the truth, they didn't want to give it up. Now, so the wrongdoers follow their own desires without any knowledge. فَمَنْ يَهْدِي مَنْ أَضَلَّ اللَّهُ. Who would guide the one who Allah has led astray? Now, this implies that this going astray, or Allah leading people astray, is a consequence of dhulm, of wrongdoing. Wrongdoing either in action or in belief or in desire, anything like that. Because it says, بَلِ اتَّبَعَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا, those who were wrongdoers. They followed their desires, and of course, these are going to be led astray. بَلِ اتَّبَعَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَهْوَاءَهُم بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. And this following of ahwa, following of desires, was without knowledge, without any established proof that they could bring. It was just desires, just ahwa. And because of that zulm, فَمَنْ يَهْدِي مَنْ أَضَلَّ اللَّهُ. So it follows that this izlal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a consequence of zulm. يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُضِلُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. He guides anyone who wishes and misguides anyone who wishes. These wishes are based on wisdom and are consequences to certain acts. They are either punishment or reward. So it's due to the free will of human being. Like, for example, يثبت الله الذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا والآخرة ويضل الله الظالمين. Allah misguides the ظالمين. Not misguides anyone he wishes just without any reason. Of course, his wish is always based on reason, always based on wisdom. So يضل الله الظالمين. There is a set of verses in Surah Ar-Ra'd which is very beautiful and very telling in this regard. Verses 27 to 29, وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ. The disbelievers, the kafirin, say that why he doesn't show us a miracle. Of course, many miracles were shown to them, but every time they asked for a new miracle. If you show this to us, then we believe, and they disbelieve. وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ. And of course, Allah did not every time responded positively, showing a miracle. Because what is the use of a miracle when they were going to reject it? قُل, say, it's not a matter of miracle showing something that you are surprised about it. Showing something that brings wonder to your heart, and then you reject it. No, it's not the case. بل قل إن الله يضل من يشاء. Say, Allah misguides anyone he wishes. Those are ظالمين. ويهدي إليه من أناب. And those who turn with their hearts to Allah, He guides them. So this guidance, this hidayah and idlal are based on certain actions from the people themselves. إن الله يضل من يشاء ويهدي إليه من أناب. This anaba means turning to God with one's heart. Now, I may not know what should I do. I may not have much knowledge about guidance, but I turn to God with my heart. Instead of turning to dunya with my heart, I turn to God with my heart. Instead of being reassured by dunya, I am reassured by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what the explanation of man anab is given. This is how it's given in these verses. Who is man anab? Those who turn to God with their hearts. الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله. Those who believe and their hearts are set or rest assured by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They rely on Him. They have tawakkul on Him. They know that everything is in His hand rather than anything else. This is contrary to those who الذين رضوا بالحياة الدنيا وطمأنوا بها. They were pleased with the life of this world and they were rest assured by dunya, not by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then it says, Allah bizakrillah tatma'innul qulub. It's only by the remembrance of Allah that hearts find itminan, find tranquility. Someone is tranquil if they have dunya, and if they don't have it, they're always in contention with themselves. And some have tranquility with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the inaba of heart to Allah. Allah will guide them, of course. But yudhillullahu dhalimeen. He will misguide the dhalimeen. So, the meaning, if you want to sum up the meaning of the verse, is that بل اتبع الذين ظلموا أهواءهم. Rather, those who committed wrongdoing through polytheism follow their own desires without knowledge. It's not because they don't know. It's not because they don't apply reason. It is because of this, and it's because Allah left them astray as punishment for their wrongdoing. Now they have nobody to lead them to the right path, no any helper to support them. This is the meaning of وَمَا لَهُم مِّن نَاصِرِينَ. If وَمَنْ يَهْدِي مَنْ أَضَلَّ اللَّهُ. Who wants to guide them? If Allah wants them to be misguided, who would guide them? And as I said, this guidance is and misguidance is a consequences of one's own action. Now, if this is the case, whatever said before about mabda and ma'ad, the origin and the end, creation and resurrection, and all these things about polytheism, about following the ahwa rather than following reason, from on the side of polytheists, verse number 30 makes a conclusion. فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. So set your heart on the religion as a people of pure faith, the origination of Allah according to which He originated mankind, فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله. There is no altering of Allah's creation. ذلك الدين القيم. That's the upright religion. ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. But majority of people do not know about this fitra, about this religion, about the benefits of following this religion. Now, this discussion, as I said, branches from what was said before, was established in the preceding verses regarding the origin of creation and the path of human being towards resurrection and akhirah. So, if it says, if it's established that creation and sovereignty belongs to God alone, and he has no partner, and he will resurrect you and hold you responsible of your actions, and that there is no salvation for those who turn away from God, يُضِلُّ ظَالِمِينَ, then devote yourself wholly to the faith and adhere steadfastly to it. For this is the religion ordained by the very nature of human creation. Now, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ. This fa is for tafri. It means that this is the result of what we said before. This follows from what we said before. فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ. إِقَامَةُ الْوَجْهِ. What does it mean? Wajh means face, isn't it? And although it is used for other meanings as well, like the very existence of a person's wajh, or the desire of a person is wajh as well. So it means that turning towards the religion with full attentiveness, iqama, aqim wajhak. Keep your face, keep yourself, keep your heart. As I said, wajh, of course, is used here metaphorically. Keep your heart like one who focuses wholly and intensely on wajhaka lid-deen, for deen. Now, what's this deen? Lid-deen. This means for ad-deen. This means there is a deen which is known. There's a religion which is known to everyone. This al is for ahd, a deen that we have defined already, and you know about it. فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ. So keep your face uprightly towards deen. And this deen is defined elsewhere as deenullah, the deen, the religion that Allah has ordained. And this is defined elsewhere as Islam, which was the deen of the whole humanity right from the beginning. And the name Islam was given to it by Ibrahim alayhi salam. Muslimin. He called you Muslims before in his time. So if you accept whatever I said before, then keep your face, heart. And the translation in here is keep your heart. And that's right. Face means something by which one turns to others. And of course, we turn to Allah by our heart, not by our faces. That's the meaning of wajh here. So set your heart on the religion as a people of pure faith, Hanifa. So deen is explained. What is Hanifa? Hanif is translated here as pure faith. Someone who is focusing only on faith, purely on faith. Of course, that faith has many different parts in it. Social relations, social life, human life, individual life, relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have to be Hanif in that. This Hanif is a circumstantial clause, hal. In an Arabic expression, is hal. It explains the circumstances or the condition, the way you have to keep yourself, keep your heart. You have to do it in a way which is Hanif. Now, Hanif, Hanf originally means when the two feet turn towards each other. That is, of course, the physical meaning of Hanf, but then it has been taken as a metaphor for when all aspects, all desires, all wants of a person tends towards something. So that's why it is explained as pure faith, purely for Allah. Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanatan lillah hanifa. Ibrahim was Hanif, and that's why he became so prominent in the Quran. So it originally refers to the inward inclination of the feet toward the center, and here it signifies uprightness, turning, focusing to one thing only. And it's maybe now this Hanifa, as you see, it's mansub, so it is a hal. It may be a hal as a potential clause for aqam. Keep yourself, your heart. This iqama, this keeping must be Hanif. Or it may be for deen, that keep your face towards deen, and this deen must be Hanif. Or it may refer to wash, the heart. Your heart may be Hanif. And in all cases, it gives the same thing. You have to be focused on deen. Why? It is explained in the following sentences. Fitrat Allah. This is the fitrah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So stick to it. As inshallah we will explain in our next session, this is a very important verse about religion being fitri, being inborn in human creation, what that means, and if it is fitri, why many people deviate from it. This is something that we have to discuss, inshallah, in our next session. Fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nasa alayha. This is the creation of Allah that has created man. Based on that, inshallah, we'll discuss it in our next session. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.